When life stops, when life is taking your breath away, when life throws you the curveball, I think it's important to talk about these moments because, I heard in a George Strait song one time, he said, life's not about the breaths you take, the breathing in and out. It's about the moments that take your breath away. But the thing is that goes good and bad. If your favorite sports team wins the Super Bowl and you are just like, oh my God, and you're so excited. But what about when you get the call with not so good news, when something happens that is basically like a perspective shift? And that's kind of what I want to talk about today is when life throws you that curveball that changes your entire perspective. And that recently happened to my wife and I, and that's why we tend, as humans, we tend to retreat when these moments happen on the negative. And as a lot of people know, Kayla and I went through a pretty bad miscarriage about 2.5 years ago. And it took us 2.5, well, I guess it'd be 3 years now. And it took us about 2.5 years to get pregnant again. So as you can imagine, as we're going into the doctor, they are, every little bump, every movement, every time we are struggling to hear the baby's heartbeat, it's a moment that is just like, oh my God, 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 oh my God. And we can't breathe until we hear the heartbeat. And recently we went in for the 20-week scan, the anatomy scan, and we were very excited and everything looked great on it. And a week later we got in with the doctor, and the doctor said, there are signs of amniotic bands. And I didn't know what amniotic bands were. I'd never heard of the term. And essentially it's when little strands come off and they can wrap around your baby. They can deform your baby. They can kill your baby if one of these things get in during especially the developmental phase. And so while this is going on, Kayla doesn't really know what had just happened, but they hand me all of this paperwork. And the paperwork, I'm reading through it, and they're just having a normal conversation. And I'm going, hey, really, this is bad. This is really bad. I start freaking out. And then not only that, they proceed to tell us, call one of these numbers. These are the specialists. You need to go see a specialist because in my 10 years of delivering babies, I've only seen one of these amniotic band things. So we are terrified. We are scared. And at that moment, it was very interesting because, I had a golf tournament that I was supposed to be on, and I had all of these things that I was supposed to do, and I was very excited, but my world stopped when I got that news. My world stopped when that happened. My world came to a halt until I could figure out what was going on, until I could figure out how I was going to get my wife to a specialist, how I was going to get, any clarification on what was going on. Now, full disclosure, as you can imagine, I am a creature of perseverance. So as you can imagine, I got us in the very next day to a specialist, even though they had said it's going to be 2 weeks until you can see anyone. I was a very persistent person. I was a very, let's just say I was freaking out. I was that guy. I had no idea what to do. My wife and I are not doing well. But the thing is my world stopped. I had no idea. I had totally forgotten about golf. I had totally forgotten about any fires that were happening in our life. I had totally forgotten about normal responsibilities, obligations, because my world came to a halt and I immediately focused on this new thing. It completely changed my perspective of what was important, why things were important. And I think that we should get into a state to where we don't need the violent shoves from life to learn real, honest-to-God appreciation for things. And every time my niece Fire, yes, her name is Fire, Phyre. My niece, she has a new 3-year-old. His name is Riker. He is just an absolute joy. And I can't help but thinking when I'm watching them interact, her and her husband Stephen, when I'm watching her interact with her kid, just, oh my God, how blessed are you? How lucky are you? How are you so unbelievably, I don't want to say lucky, because, obviously we know that it's hard work, but we need to appreciate the moment that, they have a healthy baby boy running around. There are so many people out there who are still trying to be able to get pregnant. There are so many people out there that are fighting through many miscarriages and different things that happen. After all was said and done, we went to the specialist, and they said that it was actually something else. It wasn't an amniotic band, which, thank God. It was something else that is, I'm not even going to try to say the word, but it was something else that is basically not harmful to the baby. And it's just going to be something that, he lives within there. And she said it's basically like if he's in a room, he is going, yes, we're having a boy, if you didn't know. He just kind of has this awkward shelf somewhere, because it's, a piece of tissue lining the walls of the womb. So I don't know why I said that. But it just got me thinking when we were walking away and we felt like we had the weight of the world taken off of us. I just got to thinking about everything I immediately neglected. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad or anything. It just really gave me a perspective shift on what is important. And if we can double down on those things that we can and should appreciate, so that when life does those moments, good and bad, that take our breath away, that are going to give us a little bit of a perspective shift, if you will. I think it is important to remember life matters. The experience that you have matters. They say, when people say, they say, who is they? I'm going to start saying, I have heard. When people are young, they will sacrifice all of their youth for just as much wealth as they possibly can. And then no matter how much wealth you tend to create, you will sacrifice all of your wealth for just one more day of health. We want to be able to experience life. We want to be able to appreciate life. But we need to be aware enough to recognize when we're in the moments that are special. The pregnancy that I'm going through with my wife right now is incredibly precious and special to us, and we are going to remember it forever. And I just don't want the world to get into the horizon syndrome. It's the if-then scenario where you say, hey, if this happens, then I'll be happy. If this happens, then I'll do this. If this happens, then maybe this happens. No, live life, love life, appreciate life, but you have to be aware when you're at the right place at the right time. And if you get aware enough, if you raise your awareness quotient, you're going to realize you're always at the right place at the right time. If you woke up on the right side of the dirt this morning, you are at the right place at the right time. You can make something special of your life, but more often than not, you have to learn how to appreciate things. And I don't want to take one moment of life for granted. I have my mom, and it's weird seeing your parents become mortal. I'm up in Wyoming right now. I'm helping my parents do this, that, and the other. And, moving bricks for my dad and moving different things for that. My dad's building 2 different decks, and all of these things are happening. And he needs help, and watching the way that he moves now versus when I was little, it's weird to see that mortality, creep in. And my mom, unfortunately, 6 weeks ago or so, she, sprained one of her ankles really bad that we thought was broken, and absolutely broke the crap out of her other ankle just by stepping wrong. And it puts things into perspective that everyone's not going to be around forever. You're not going to be around forever, and we need to make the most of our life. We don't want to get into the land of shoulda, coulda, woulda when we get into our midlife, if you will, or even our elder years. We don't want to get into those things. We want to take action on what's possible right now. So this podcast is all about just a perspective shift. I wanted to let you guys know, hey, I went through this. That's why I retreated. That's why maybe I posted some pretty vague things, nothing pertaining to negativity, because I don't want to do that, but it's just, I'm not engaging. It's not, actively what's happening, because I don't want to post going into the doctor, going to this is scary, blah, 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 blah. I just want to share my takeaways, the moments that are hitting me in life, and, building a quote unquote, an empire. Don't get me wrong, that's fun. I'm still going to be an entrepreneur my whole life, but the focus of life is shifting. And it's like Tony Robbins says when he says, if you want to change the beliefs in your life, it starts with your physiology, it starts with your language, it starts with your focus. So if you change the way, like your physiology, the way you dress, the way you walk, having certain things, putting your arms above your head, power stances, state changes, all of those things, this physiology change. And then you change your language. Maybe you don't use foul language, or you start using foul language. Maybe you say I can instead of I can't. And you start these empowering structures in the way that you communicate with other people, and more importantly yourself. But then you change what you focus on. Instead of focusing on I can't do that, or I'm never going to be good, or I'm never going to be good enough, I'm never going to be enough, I'm never going to have the money, I'm never going to have the house. Start changing what you're focusing on. Hey, this is what I do have. This is what I have been able to accomplish. This is where I am going, and I believe in myself. I'm excited. And then, of course, if you can change your physiology, you can change your language, you change what you focus on, you're going to start to change what you believe to be possible. And one of the things that is happening for me right now is I am changing my focus in life. There's a lot that changes when you start to think, hey, I have the audacity to bring another human into this world. I'm excited about this next chapter. I'm also scared about this next chapter. I'm confused. I'm elated. I have all the emotions going. And I just want to appreciate and be involved in the whole process alongside my wife, Kayla, and make it happen. And to anyone who's coming to our summit on September 25th and 26th, I mean, you're going to see a pretty pregnant lady getting up there and rocking the stage with me. And I'm telling you, there's no person I would rather get out there and share our story, share our marriage, share our ups, share our downs, than her. She has been my rock. I've been hers, and our relationship in 2020. Well, yes, we fought off a lot of wolves. Our business almost got obliterated, but our relationship got better. And we are extremely blessed to have one another, and we're going to fight for and with one another. But it's important to not let life dictate to you when you should learn to appreciate things. Appreciate on your terms, not life's terms, because they say you don't know what you have until it's gone. Don't let life take things away from you to force you to appreciate things, to force you to shift your focus. If you have some good people in your life, you have a good family, you're doing things. It's not all about the material things, the money, the this, that, and the other. If you have, healthy babies, if you have a great relationship, if you have a stable job, it's okay to, want to, be ambitious and take yourself to the next level, but it shouldn't take away from you appreciating who you have become so far and what you have achieved so far and what you have so far. It's kind of like the saying, I'll leave you with this: always be content with what you have, but never be content with who you are. Always be trying to become more, read more, experience more, go to conferences, go experience life, challenge yourself, take courses, be a better you. And if you become more, you will achieve and have more. But that simple little phrase right there will save your sanity in this crazy world that we live in. So always be content with what you have, but never be content with who you are, because if you focus on becoming more, you will, as a byproduct, you will have more eventually. So focus on you. It's like Sharon Lecter says, who's going to be at our conference, feed your family first. So don't forget about you in that scenario. Feed yourself first. Like they say, when the airplane's going down, put your mask on first. Equip yourself. Become the best person you can be. Go the final percent. But today, go the final percent in appreciation, and appreciate on your terms, not when life steps in and says, hey, you should have appreciated this when it was in your life. So that's the final percent today. Thank you guys so much. I am traveling back to Denver today, so we are going to be back in full swing very soon. This time with my family over July 4th has been unbelievably cathartic, and it has been a great perspective shift for me, getting, to where I was grown. I grew up here, and reconnecting, plugging in to this place with these people, it means and meant the world to me. So I am coming back with a new zest for life, and I am full and excited on what is possible for the future. So go the final percent today and appreciate on your terms. Thank you so much.